Hello everyone, greetings from India. This is Nirbhay Chauhan from Eklavya self-learning tutorials. Well guys, in the previous tutorial we have seen the structure analysis of our conceptual BIM model, and we have seen where actually attention is basically required. So which was this area where we need some beams. So now today in this tutorial we will go in depth by creating our design stage model, right? So this was a conceptual model. So we'll be using this model as reference, and now we will create a detailed model with foundations, plinth beams, columns, structural beams, slabs, all that stuff basically. So this is going to be exciting tutorial, so stay tuned. So we'll close this window basically, and we'll start with an empty file, right? And now here we will link our reference model. So here is an option which says external reference. So you can also access this from 3D BIM inside the BIM workbench, generic 3D tools, and here you have an option of external reference. So once you click on it, you can choose the file from the task, and we'll choose the structural model 01, which we discussed in the previous tutorial. So now you have various options, like what part do you need to refer here. You can use the whole model, right? Or you can choose your desired objects. So the whole model would not be required. There are a lot of details there. So mainly we will require, let's say, this the boundary wall, so that we can draw our site, right? Click on OK. So you have the boundary wall at the exact location, and this is basically a referenced object. So you can see here, this is being referred from external FreeCAD model, right? We will operate this operation and we will choose the same file, right? So this basically helps you to manage your model efficiently when you have different parts on the same model rather than having the whole model being referred, right? You can switch on and off particular elements. So the boundary we have, slabs we can model quite well. What we can do is we can take the columns. So here you have all columns thing. Click on OK, right? So you got all the column locations basically which you will need to model down, right? Now to ease down our drawing on top of it, so we'll model on top of it just like you model and trace on top of a 2D drawing. So this is directly via 3D model. This is something actual BIM approach. You have a conceptual BIM model, you refer it, and from that you basically start your structural model, architecture model, or your full model. So that's a federated approach basically. So this basically helps you to eventually take your model to a better design stages, right? And you can individually refer those independent models whenever you want, so that you can uh, basically take the decisions accordingly. So now basically we want these models. So you can select these models, reference model, go to view, and here you have an option of display mode. You click on it and make it wireframe, right? So this will make us easier to basically play with this and refer the lines. Make sure your overall draw style for the file is as is. If in case this is no shading, then you won't get that wireframe effect, right? So make it as is. In the flat lines also no. So make it show this is as is. Now, but the model that you will draw, that will be proper shaded and all that stuff will be there. This is only for the object that we have selected. To make it more distinguishable, we select these parts again. Line width we can make it as 0.25, and line color we can make something different, maybe this one, right? So now this will basically help us to distinguish, okay, these are the orange ones are basically the referred models, and the black lines or stuff that will create is our actual model, right guys? So now what we will do is, let us quickly first draw the columns. Okay, we'll go to the boundary also, but let's draw the models, columns. So you can see these 1 2 3 4 5 columns are identical, these two are identical, and then this one we have as different one. So we'll just draw one profile. You can use sketcher also, but we will use the draft options. So you see, this is a mixed kind of approach. Sketcher has its advantages, Draftline has their own advantages. When you're simply tracing, It's better you use draft tools. Sketcher is okay, but in Sketcher when you have constraints and you have referred geometry, and sometimes referred geometry is deleted or referred geometry is moved, your sketch basically gets distorted, or sketch also gets moved, right? So that's why I'm basically using draft lines here, because we're simply tracing here, right? So we have switched to now up. I'll just show you again. So we are in the top view, right? We select this polyline, okay, and make sure the snapping option which says snap working place is switched on, right? And you can optionally choose endpoints also, right? So working plane will assure that the points that you are lines that you are drawing are actually on the work plane only, right? So you click on this automatically, then this one, then this one. We'll choose all the boundaries. Once we'll choose, you see this face is drawn now, and this is actually on the work plane, right guys? Now what we will do is we select this wire and we select this column option. So this will create a column from that geometry. So we click on this structure, and in the data properties we make its height as um, let's make it 12 feet. So this is how it is drawn now, right? Now you can simply copy this column to all the positions. So now there are two approaches again. Either you can clone. I'll just show you what clone does. You select this structure. Let's name it also as C1. Okay. You click on this object, and here you have an option in the modify which says clone, right? So this basically creates a copy out of it, but dependent column is original one only. So now you can position it. Let's say I want to position it from here to here, right? I will rotate it, but let me just show you how does this function. So now the C002 doesn't have any properties on its own functioning. So let's say I change the height here to 20 feet. It won't change. It will only change from the C1. If I change C1 20 feet, the C002 will also move, right? So this is helpful when you have similar geometries and you want to control the overall floor, right? So you can use this approach, right? Or you can use a copy. We will use a copy when we're moving to the above floors, right guys? So here we can, I think, opt for this approach only. We can start naming this. So let's say this is C002. We make it C2. So this basically helps you going forward for your easy reference of model. We switch this to 12 feet. Cool, right? Now we will rotate this. So we select this object, and here you have the rotation option. Choose the center, uh, the axis that you want to rotate, and then draw like this, and you see how easy this is. So you have this object rotated, right guys? Now we will click on this object again. We will choose the clone option, right? And this will ask us to position, to move it basically. If we move it from here to here, so you see how easy this is to snap, right? And again, you can see these are dependent upon the initial C1 only. This we can name as C3 quickly, right? So C1, C2, C3, and now we will move this one to basically here, right? We choose clone option again, click on this edge, move it here, let's rotate it. Okay, cool, quick and easy. And now we have this option, so let's rename to this as C4. Okay, make a clone again, select from here, position it here, and then choose the rotate option. Easy. Okay, Now we are done with all the L-shape columns. Let's rename it to C5. Right, guys? Now we can draw the geometry of this T-shaped column. So quite quick. So what we'll do is we'll draw the boundary again. So once you have the snapping on, it's quite easy. And this is a surface which is created now, right? We'll choose this wire, we'll choose the column option. Column is created. We'll choose the height as 12 feet, just like others, right? So we were like here C5 till here, 1 2 3 4. So let's make it little bit a good numbering. So if this is C1, this is C2, C3, C4, this should be C5. This we can make as C6. Okay, logical naming would basically help. C6. This T1 should be C7. Right, internal one would be C8. So now C5 we want, which is here. So we'll simply move this column by cloning it, and then we'll choose the endpoint from here to here, right? And now we will rotate this. Oh, sorry. Let's do it again. Like this. So this is created and this name was C5. So that's a logical grouping, right? Now we have this central column left basically. So this should also be quite quick and easy. Select the boundary. This is a plus shape column. So once you're done with the last vertex, it basically creates a shape automatically. So select the wire, click on the column option. This should be C4, and the height, okay, sorry, C5. That's why I didn't pick C, because C5 is also there. Something I have done wrong here. Wait, let's just shift the height first, which is 12 feet. So C1 we have, C2 is here, C3 is here, C4 is here, C6 is this one, C7 is this, C5 is, okay, this is C8, guys, my bad. Done. So now we have all the columns basically for our ground floor, right? So all the geometries are created. Now what we will do is let's create plinth beams. Okay, the beams basically which are on the ground floor only, right? So that should be quite easy. You can hide the reference geometry now. Okay, let's save our model also so that you don't lose any data. Let me just rename it as design stage model. I save it. Right, now we will draw beams. So now to draw beams, again there are various approaches. You can click on this beam option, right, and start dragging them like the line approach. But there is slightly kind of confusion here. Okay, I'll just take you through. Set on this beam option, right, category, just make it none. So now you might get confused between length, width and height here, right? How these basically are taken. We can switch between length and width. So this will just take one iteration, then we will get used to it. So what we can do here, so the width that we need is 9 inches, and the height that we need is 1 feet. Okay, let's just try to draw once. So this is taking center basically. Okay, one beam is drawn. Let us just quickly see. It has taken right dimensions very well. You can see the longer one is the height, which is this one, and the width is 9 inches, which is good, right? So this is placed at center like this. What we can do, we can move it. Okay, we select this point to here, and we also want to position it upwards. So this is 1 feet below. So we click on beam, placement, position. In the Z1, just simply make it. So 12 inches was overall 6 inches like this. Yep. Just let's create a group also of our. So here, let me just create a group. Let's name it as so these are ground floor columns, so simply name it as G columns maybe. Okay, let me just move all of these columns to this group. Right guys, you can copy the beams also if in case you want, if in case you are sure about the dimensions and the widths here, but let's start by creating quickly another beam. So height was 12 inches, right? So you can choose center also if it takes. So here you have a center constraint, center snapping, and you see it goes very beautifully. Bingo. Oh, there is some issue. Where did we go wrong? The beam is created, but again there is some problem with the dimensions. So 9 inches fine, height is 0. Yes, so we have it here. Let's position it again from the placement 6 inches above. Cool, right? So this beam and this dimensions are same basically, so this beam we can move it below here. We select this beam, let's use the clone option, right, and we select this edge and move it here. You can see it's placed quite well, but okay, there is one mistake, that this edge is okay going there. So let me double click on this beam. No, it doesn't take. Let me just make it unclone. So for that, click on this beam, go to utilities. Here you have unclone option. So it basically makes this beam independent. You can see it's lying here now. Let me just try to move it again. Basically I want to change its length. So here you have the length option, which is saying like this. So you can quickly measure length also. Click on this measure option. Right. This is 16 feet. Right guys, so select on this beam and length you can make it as only 16 feet. It's fixed. Okay, so you learn how to unclone also. It is going above the ground. Okay, so the placement of this should be 6 inches only, not 1 feet. Cool, so this beam is also drawn. Now what we can do, let's draw this beam and then we'll copy those. Well, let's go in a serial order only, no issues. It will just take a while, because anyways these beams will be helpful in when we're going the upper floor. These will get repeated. So length, let's just give some random value. Height you can give as 1 feet. Now select the mid edge, drag it till here, create it beautifully, 6 inches upwards. So once you are like familiar, like this is quite easy and like quick going, right? It doesn't take much time. So this beam we can copy. You can use clone option. I hope these are at the same level here to here. Yes, they are probably. Yes. Very well fitted. Cool. So this beam is done, and then we can draw this beam at this length. So again, this is fine. Let's choose no, height should be 1 feet, not 14 inches. So simply drag and snap it here. 6 inches. Cool, it's going nicely. And then we can draw this one, and then this one and this one. Okay, let's make it quick. You can fast forward here if you want, right? And you can practice meanwhile on your own also till we are playing with this. Okay, let's quickly draw the beams first, then we'll adjust the height. This is done. Let's draw this one. Interesting. So it's not aligning. No problem. We can shift our columns. So that's the kind of problem that usually we can face. Let's see this beam basically. This one aligns perfectly well. So this is a column which need attention, guys, right? So go to measure tool. Here there's an option which shows delta also. Not this one. Let me just see. Yeah, so this shows delta y is 4.5 inches. So this is quite helpful. So basically we need to move this column 4.5 inches in y direction, right? So this is how handy this tool is. So these are some kind of mistakes that usually you'll see in the conceptual model, guys, right? So because that is drawn quite quickly. So now what we'll do is we will select this column which is C7. So 4.5 inches was the value. What you can do, either you can use position Y also here. You can use 4.5 inches like this, right? And you see this is moved very well. This overlapping we will solve, but now let's just try to draw the beam again where we actually got stuck. And let's see that delta. Yes, the delta was very well accurate. So that's the beauty of this measure tool, right? You can use it, you can access it from here, or you can access it from tools, and here with the measure, right? This is very handy. Right, this beam, let me just, this is B06. Length we want to increase by 4.5 inches. So that's the simple math how it is. So this should be 15 plus 4. You can just write plus 4.5 inches, and this should take that value. It's going backward, but yes, the length has been increased. Now you can simply move it in y direction by saying plus 4.5 inches. This is a bit of like mathematical operation that you use here. So this beam is moved. this beam we need to like shrink by 4.5 inches. So what we'll do is we go to length and minus 4.5 inches. So you see how quick this is done. Now the beams are drawn. If you remember, certain beams require attention in the z-axis. That we'll quickly do now. So this was the beam. Placement, position, z 6 inches. Cool. This one also require attention. And then this one. We'll do it for this one also. Simply switch to front view and just see anything lying downwards. No, everything is good. Just see it from this view also. Very well. We'll save the model, right, just for reference. So this is a kind of plinth level model that you have now created for your reference, right guys? If in case you want, this was the reference for the columns, right? So this was the deflection that we have. So now if in case you want, you can delete this reference by simply clicking on delete. Cool. Boundary one will still use. Okay, so this we have created. Now let's create group for beams also. This is a group and these are ground floor, so we'll say G beams. These are basically plinth beams, or yeah, we can say plinth beams. That's a better word. Numbering for the beams, okay, so we can start it from here. This is B1, this is B2, this is B3, this is B4. We're going in anti-clockwise direction basically. B5, B6, B7, B8. We are left with now these two. Let's make it B9 and this one B10. I think we're done. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Is something wrong here? Okay, this one also here, right? So basically we select all these beams along with this one and move it to plinth beams. Very well. Right, so this grouping we have. So now we were basically till here like we were seeing the bottom to top approach. We created columns, we created plinth beams. Now we'll just move downwards basically guys, right? And we will draw the foundations, right? We will have the wall foundations for this plinth beam, and we will have the spherical scale foundations for this column. Like they will be joined, but let's just do it quickly for easy reference. So how we will do that thing is basically, so we want the foundation to be 4 feet below till this working plane. We go to this working plane option, offset minus 4 feet. It should be top XY. Click OK. Click on top view. So this is the distance you can see now, 4 feet down, right? So I think this is sufficient. Now what we'll do is we have the working plane below 4 feet. So here we will start to draw the foundations basically. There's a quick approach which we will be utilizing guys, right? So how we can do is we need the scale foundations for our columns. That is something we can surely do, but what I was thinking here, to draw the scale foundations first and then the wall foundations. Yeah, that should be quick. Let's draw the scale foundations. Okay, so the scale foundations that we want are basically around 2 feet by 2 feet, right? So how we will do that, keeping this in center, simply draw a rectangle like this. Okay, let's see its dimensions. This is 10 feet. No, it should be 2 feet. Length again should be 2 feet. So this is the foundation that basically we want, right, to be placed here. Cool. So how we will place that now? um, Choose this rectangle, click on the move option, right here there's a center option. Yes, so this is center snapping, right? Click, you make sure this is chosen, and then you'll have the center position. Now you can move it by center, and here also uh, how we want to position this. No, that's not right. Let's position it here for time being. Okay, and how basically we need it, I think we might need more wider um, foundation. So let me just measure dimension on this, because we should have at least 9 inches gap offset for the foundation. So let me just use measure tool again. So this is 1 feet 3 and this one is 2 feet already, right? So our foundation should be 2 feet plus 9 inches plus 9 inches, which is 3 feet 8 inches, 3 feet 6 inches, so 3.5 feet, right? So 3.5 feet is good. We close this dimension and let's make it 3.5 and length also 3.5. This one is more suitable. Let's move it again. And now what we will do is we will create a footing out of this. Select this rectangle, select this structural slab option, right? So this is extruded downwards, which is fine, that's how we want it only. Thickness of this slab you can give basically, which is the height, sorry, the height, yeah. So this you can give around 5 inches is fine, right guys? So that's how you have it, the footing for this. And now we'll simply position it across our model. So let's give it a name, which is F1, right? And now we'll start making clones of it, just like we did for beams and columns. For this one, okay, let me just use some other point for this. This was this. Oh, okay, it's not this one, guys. Let me position this. Its position should be here, yeah, at the center. So this is done. Now again we'll create the clone. Make sure you snap the footing object, and now we place it. There is some issue. Let me try again. It didn't move. We clone it. For moving it, we select the center and we place it here. Fine. So this footing is also placed, right? Now we will operate this same operation for this footing also. It may take a while, but you can feel free to fast forward from here, right? So this center snapping is very helpful. Okay, let's make clone of it. Center positioning is good. We choose this center. Very fine. Now let's make clone of this one. Choose a center and position the center. Very well. Now we're left with these two. Let's choose this one. We make clone again. Snap the center, and then we snap the center of this one. And for the last one, let's choose this one. Make a clone. Snap center and then snap. Okay, there was a slight mistake here. Wait. Let's do it again. It didn't snap properly. Alright. So now we have all the footings very well placed. We can save the model also. Right. So now we'll draw the wall foundations. Basically, firstly we'll connect these ones with the PCC. Right, guys? Let us just name the footings also. So F1 was here. This is F2. This is, let's go anti-clockwise only. So if this was F1, so let me just write X here. So this is F1, this should be F2, or what we can do is we can go from the column. So this was the column C1, na? So let's make it F1 basically. So this one we can make as again somewhere. Just give me dummy name. So yeah, so we'll go with this one as F1, this one as F2, this one as F3, this one as F4, this one F5, the base one, let's go with this F6, F7, and finally the internal one as F8. Fantastic. So this is all done. Let's create a group again. So just stay with me, guys. Be some patience because this is a actual modeling that we're doing, the full modeling for our project, right? So these are footings. What is F006? This was supposed to be F2, guys. Why didn't it do? Cool. Now let's just move all these 8 footings to footings folder. Right? You can control it now. Now what we need is make sure the working plane is good. Now we'll create the PCC by connecting these foundations. So these footings were basically of height 5 inches. Yeah. So make sure you have top view totally aligned. Now we will basically draw the quick rectangles basically now. So choose a rectangle. Let's make the end snapping point. Click this option and now this one. Done. Click on this one and then this. Done. Right? This one will be very quicker. Done. And this one till okay, here we will have a little bit of okay, we'll adjust this, no problem. This is aligned. Okay, so what we are seeing here is a little bit of disalignment, so that's not a problem, we can fix this. Let me just see where else it is there. This one is okay, and for this one I'm just worried overall model. Okay, the column is fine, it's only the footing which needs to be placed slightly downwards. Yeah, I got it. So basically what I'll do is, let me just draw a line here quickly just to get a reference. Right, I click this footing, I move, use move option. Very well. Right, now the rectangle thing should be perfectly fitted. Right, okay, this rectangle we can fix by double clicking, making this edge till here, this edge till here. Done. What else was the issue? Let me just see any other rectangle. Okay, I got it. So this footing below this one also need to be moved, which is not an issue. So click on this footing. Very well. And this PCC we will just adjust the points by making it here. Very good. Now we'll draw the rectangle from here to here. So this fits perfectly well. Any other, this rectangle, which is the last one that we need is, and this one we can fix. Very good. So if you just try to rotate, you can see guys, you have those surfaces very well created, and now from these we'll create the PCC. So what we'll do, we select all of these rectangles, right, and we select the structural option. Okay, it basically operates one by one, no issue. So select this one, click on slab, height will just combining it later. Click on this one, slab, this one also to be slab. So we'll repeat this operation for all of our rectangles that we have for PCC. Right, so the footing was 5 inches. Let's select all of these PCC, go to the height option here, make it 5 inches. Very well fitted, that's a good thing. Now we'll simply name all of these PCC. Let's switch to no shading now, which should be fine, yeah, as we are like not referring anything. So what we'll do now is start anti-clockwise again, select this PCC, we'll label it as PCC 1, this one as PCC 2, this one as PCC 3. So in the actual project guys, this is how kind of modeling you have to do, and but that should be okay. PCC 5, eight, the should PCC 9. right? So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, total 9 PCC we have. And what's this one? Okay, this is PCC 10. Let's get a group again. Let's name it as PCC, and let's move all our PCC slabs to here. Right guys, so this is very well done. Now we will basically, so see, columns will go at the column level. So one thing I can just show you quickly. So let's say this is a column which we want to choose, right? So columns are coming from the foundation level, although the good practice is to have foundation column separately, but they can go till first level, so that should not be a problem, and the height is not much. So this column placement we can do, let's say, so it was -4 now, -4 feet, and just see it. Yes, this is perfectly fine, right? And the height 12 feet was there, now 4 feet again, so 16 inches should be there. So let's make the height as 16 feet, right? So what we need to do is we need to basically position all of our rest of the columns also. Yeah, this is the approach which we should avoid basically, because the coordinates, it takes common like for all the columns when done at once, right? So that's not a problem. We'll quickly offset every column quickly. Set on this one, -4 feet. This one, -4 feet. So height, you can see it's adjusting for the clones one, and for the others we'll do it quickly also. We are just repeating the operation for all the columns for the typical ones, right? So all of these are now grounded at the foundation level. So the height is being varied, so these clones are same. This one we need to shift to 16. So remember now in the beginning we have 3 kinds of columns. This is the one, this is the one, and then these two. Very good, we'll save it. Right, now we have the foundation. Now we'll need the wall foundation that basically we need to draw here, right? uh, which can be, which should be 9 inches only, or it can be thicker. So for that what we can do, this is going, yeah, the wall foundation would be 9 inches only, because mainly the columns are taking the load and the PCC, so we can go with the 9 inches. Let me just do one thing, calculate one distance. So it says basically 1 feet is this side. We are good with that. So now how to draw the walls quickly, guys. So for that what we can do is simply using the line command again. So the working plane is totally fine. At this distance we'll simply draw the lines now. So what we can do for that, if in case you want to hide your uh, plinth beams, you can do that, so that you can easily draw the things, right? Okay, so we can directly draw the walls from this option, and choosing this edge till here. Let us just quickly verify this. Okay, the wall is drawn beautifully. The height that we need is only 4 feet only, basically. Right guys, so if I just show you plinth beams, so that's how these would be positioned. Right, so these are foundation walls. Right, so I think we are very perfectly fine with that. Now we'll just draw another wall. Click on the wall object. Okay, something bad I did here, I guess. Okay, select this edge and then this edge. Very good. Now this one till this one. This edge would go till this here. This edge would go till here. Now we'll do, make sure you are consistent with the direction, because walls have alignment of left and right. So we are going, you can see, clockwise direction. So like this, so it means the alignment is left for the wall, right? So this consistency you have to maintain. That's why I have skipped internal walls. So now I'll just do it for these also, in the same direction sense only, basically. So till here. If I click escape, you can see all the walls are drawn. To adjust their heights, I'll select all the walls, height as 4 feet, done. I'll switch on the plinth beam just to show you the visualization. So you can see guys, your foundation is very well drawn, like it's fantastic, right? So it looks pretty good. Let me just save it also. And for the foundations wall, so this should be FW foundation wall F1, right? That's how the naming should be. Let me just give it a label of FW1. This is already in good sequence. FW2, FW3, FW4, FW5, FW6, FW7, FW8, (9), and finally this one, FW10. Right, let's create another group and name it as foundation walls, and we'll move all these foundation walls to this group. Now you can control their visibility very easily. So I think guys, let's just save this model. So what we have seen now, we have drawn the foundation walls, PCC, footing, the initial columns till the first floor, right? So this is 12 feet basically, overall is 16 feet, right? So one thing I can show you quickly again, not again, basically in this tutorial, for the site, if in case you want to subtract, or we can move upwards basically. I think let's move upwards and complete our model, right? So this is the boundary wall, right? Now what you can do is to create the ground slab, let's switch to the top view, which is at 0, 0, which is here, right? And the slabs we want parallel to the plinth level basically. So plinth beams are, let's select this and let's just choose this one. Yeah, so this is the working level at which we want the slabs, right? We'll extrude them downwards, right? And we will use this boundary. So these will be now like quite easy rectangles. Okay, so just to make it easy, you can hide your PCC, you can hide your footings also. Yeah, so this makes it easy for you, columns and beams only, right? Okay, so what we'll do is we'll choose a tangle option, we'll choose this boundary. So this is edge to edge, right? We are not placing them over any other thing, right? So we will basically choose this rectangle, click on slab object, and you can see it's going downwards. If I just hide plinth beam for reference, you can see this is how it is. So plinth beams were basically of 1 feet thickness. So these slab that we are having like won't be much thicker, like 5 inches is enough, right? This is how it is. But this is now attached with your plinth beams, right? Below is a soil. So here this is all soil filling inside this, which will be there, right guys? That's how like actual BIM models are there. So I'll quickly show you the plinth beams, and this is how this is drawn. If in case I want to show you the sections, why not do that? There is a clipping plane here. Clipping plane. Clipping, let's say Y direction. So you can see that's how the model is basically being drawn now. You can see the clips very well. Okay, let's close this and switch back to model. Okay, so we have one slab drawn, the ground slab. Let's make the other remaining two slabs also. The working plane, let's verify. Yeah, this is good. Switch to top view. Okay, let's hide. Plinth beam is fine. Let's hide footings. Let's size PCC, so that just to give you easy view, right? Another rectangle. This vertex till this vertex. Let's draw another from this vertex till this vertex, right? And these ones will make slab. This one also has slab, and for these we will make the height as 5 inches. So this is done. If in case you want to see, these are the slabs inside, right guys? And we will basically utilize these slabs going upwards also, like we will see how quick it will be. Let's rename these slabs to, let's say, floor 1, make it floor 2, make it floor 3, and let's create another group and rename it as floor slabs, and let's move these slabs to here. Didn't move. Okay, perfectly well. Ground columns with G columns, plinth beam is fine, footing is PCC, foundation walls, floor slab. So let's give this name as ground floor slabs. Let's make it ground floor slabs. Let's name this as ground. Let's elaborate it betterly. It won't take much time. Right. So now what we need to do is, so ground floor is ready with us, right? Now we will create the beams for the upper floor, right? so that will be very easy. So plinth beams you already have, guys, right? We will simply move them upwards. So that's how easy it is. So plinth beams we have here. Let me just see if the if the clone applies on the group also. Not sure, but let me just quickly see. uh, it should be from here to here. Oh, working plane is not good. Let me just hide the plinth beams. Yeah, these are created, but you see this is not a good group. It has created the overall group as single beam, right? This is something we not want. Let's delete this. Let's switch on the plinth beams and we will clone all of these beams together, right? So let's make sure the working plane is front one, right? This will be easier for us to move the beams in good manner, right? So, or what we can do firstly is okay, let's move the beams only. Select these beams, go to clone option. Clone is done. Now let's move all of them together. Select this edge and then this edge, right? So that's how they are moved. I think we're done very well. Like that's how you can do it combiningly at once. And this space is basically for the columns only. We'll position columns here. Let us just quickly measure the length. This point to this point, 11 feet. We'll have more distance because the slab is 5 inches. 5 inches minus 1 feet, so which is around 7. So your height is good, right? Now let's just quickly move these beams into a group before we lose them, right? So this tidiness is something very important when you are BIM modeling. So make sure we have this group and we make this a group as so this is first floor. So this is G plus 1 beams, right? Let's move them. I'll show you how to get levels also, but the floor levels, but the groupings are something very essential at time being. So this is done. Now we will move the columns similarly, right? Select all the columns, right? Make sure in the front view because we're moving vertically. So that's working plane is something very essential. We make a clone, right? Select the bottom point of the columns where the columns are starting and then position them like this. We'll adjust the height. These columns surely won't be for 16 feet. 16 feet were when we were dealing with the foundation. Let's get another group and we rename this group as G plus 1 columns. Okay, O should be smaller. Right, guys, we move them here and now let's just adjust the height. So these were clones. Let's basically unclone them. So we go to this option, utilities, unclone. Okay, it says select exactly one object. So this is uncloned. We do it for this one also. Let's operate this option because we want the varying height. Otherwise, the heights would be controlled by the columns lying at the ground floor. That is something we don't want. Let me just see how long have we done with this video. This video is basically now 1 hour almost, right? I don't want this video to be much longer, but okay, we'll try to quickly finish. So now what's happening? Okay, let's make the height 12 feet and we need to move them upwards. So use this move option. It's not showing the point. Let me just show if it is show intersection. No, no issues. We'll position it somewhere like this, and then again we'll move them to here. So column to column connection, like this is how the model is basically being created, right? Similarly, we'll move the slabs also. So you see, this is quite quick. It's not that difficult once you are able to like create the models quickly. So we will now move the slab and then we will try to finish this model. So ground floor is done. Let me just move the slab here. So where are our slabs? This one, and this one, right? These we can clone. So we go to clone option. Clone is done, and these will be simply lying at plinth to plinth. Plinth to beams, I mean. Right? So slabs are also very well positioned. Let's create another group and name it to G+1 floor slabs, and let's move these slabs further in this group. So this is done. I think this is something very well. Now for the top floor, where we were like aiming to have certain more beams, right guys? Firstly, couple of beams would be repeated, like these all beams would be repeated now for our model. So what we will do is these are the G+1 beams. We'll make clone. Clone is fine with the beams as they are not varying in that much manner. So we go to clone option. We select the bottom point and move it to the topmost point of this. Right? Column height I'll adjust basically. This is fine. Let me just adjust the column heights also. These ones, yeah. This is 1 feet. Or let's just move them 1 feet below only. Yeah, that should be helpful. So all of these beams let's line like this. This is good, right? And certain new beams we need to basically draw here. So one beam was basically going in this direction, right? If you remember, one was going in this direction, and one can be from this to this. So let me just quickly click on this object surface. Let's move the working plane to this. So now the working plane is at the topmost level, right? Go to top view, and now we need to basically draw one beam till this level and one beam till this level. What I'll do is, let me just quickly create a line first for easy snapping, like this, and one line till here. Okay, now I can easily create the beams basically. So go to beam option, height is 1 feet. Okay, so from this edge, okay, it was taking center. Let me see if it takes the center of this basically. Other will shift it later, but I'm not sure if it does take center. No issues. We'll draw it till here. Something is wrong. Height is 1 feet basically. Okay, so this beam is drawn. Let me just shift it in the y direction basically, or I can simply move it. Not sure if it does take center. No issues. We'll draw it till here. Something is wrong. Height is 1 feet basically. Okay, so this beam is drawn. Let me just shift it in the y direction basically, or I can simply move it. Why it's not taking that edge? Yeah, like this. And in terms of height wise, also it needs to basically move downwards by 6 inches. So 24 feet is 23.5, or I can simply say minus 6 inches, guys. As easy as is, right? So this is one beam. Another beam we need to basically draw from here, right? Click on the beam option. Length, just give some value here. Height should be 1 feet. Let me just draw it. Beam is drawn. Let me just move it also. These lines we can delete now. In terms of positioning, again we can do it minus 6 inches, right? So this is the beams which we will have here, and it will basically help to support your outer most slab. There is some issue. Okay, I took the foundation. That's why we should hide unnecessary details. Let's hide the footing. Yeah, so let me just make it again. Not make it again, I'll simply move it to here, and the length would be, so this is basically 7.5 inches. So I click on this beam. In the length I'll simply say plus 7.5 inches. Very good. Okay, so this beam is now drawn, right? Another beam that we can have here just to support this more in better way is a diagonal beam, basically from this position to this, right? But that is so far so good. This is okay, right? So that is something we have for this. Now we can draw the roof at the top. So how you can do that is quickly, let me just see, something is not grouped. Yeah, this is not grouped. So you can say this as, let's create a new group here, rename it as roof beams, and let's move these beams to this group. These beams are slightly distorted. Okay, no issues, we'll adjust. I think when we were creating them they got little bit mishandled. No issues. Creating for the top roof, how you can do is basically we can choose a scale, this rectangle, from here to here, right? And now we'll make it offset. So here you have this offset option, right? And just give the value of 2 feet. Click enter, and this is now drawn. From this rectangle we'll create the slab. Direction will make it upwards from the normal here. This normal is in -1, na? Just make it 1. Thickness you can make it as 5 inches is fine, right? So now guys, you have very well created your model, the structural model, right? So we'll end the video here, right? And we'll see in next video what further we can do for this, right? I hope you guys like this video. Let me know with your comments, right guys? And feel free to support me on coffee. Feel free to buy me a coffee there. It really motivates, right? So we'll proceed further. See you in next video guys. Till then, take care. Goodbye. Thank you so much.